Hey everybody, hope you're doing okay out there. So today I want to talk about politics. I've had a lot of comments since I've launched this channel about 6 months ago. Today's June 18th, 2023, and I've been living here in the Villages about 10 months now. So, I'm kind of starting to get a vibe for the political environment here. I've had a lot of questions about it. I've had a lot of weird comments about it and a lot of legitimate questions, whatever. And by all means, I'm no political genius or anything like that, but I thought, okay, I'll put my 2 cents in here. First, I wanted to just say that I'm not happy with the way we do debates in this country. I haven't been in a long time. I think it's buffoonery the way the network media handles our debates. If you are hiring someone for your company, you would bring in the candidate, interview them for a while. You might have a panel of people there from different departments or your board, and drilling questions, expecting professional responses. You can start getting a feel for their character. You would review their resume, their portfolio, what have you, and move on to the next candidate. But what we do when it comes to political debates, we take all the candidates, put them in a room, ask them questions, and allow them to divert by answering the questions through insulting the other candidates, telling them how screwed up they are. And by letting them tell us how screwed up the other one is. It's crazy to me to watch. I think the networks, imagine doing that for your company, where you put all your applicants in the room, and then if you ask them the question and they answered by telling you how screwed up the other person is, you honestly think we'd hire any of these people? I certainly wouldn't. So it always amazes me that we allow the networks to do it that way. However, everybody agrees to doing it that way. And I tune in to watch it because I like a good MMA fight. That's basically what we're watching. I don't think I've ever had my opinion changed or my view on any of their positions changed by watching a debate. I think most of us tune in to see the banter that we expect, because we're certainly not going to learn anything about the candidate. Well, we might learn some bad stuff about the candidates, but you know what I mean. I wish it would be handled a little bit more professionally. I wish there would be more longer one-on-one conversations where we could really dive in to what this person is all about for each of the candidates. And when you talk to someone for a few hours, you can start seeing the human side of them, right? But what we tend to see is this really weird circus. I don't know how else to describe it. So anyway, I don't know why I'm even talking about that. It has nothing to do with the Villages, but it's my opinion on their debates. I wish we would change that. I think we should put them all in separate rooms and ask a question. If they start diverting from the question, turn the mic off. I don't need any other crap. Just answer the question. I'm trying to hire you for a job. You and I are in charge of this company called the United States of America. We're supposed to be in control of this, and I feel like we're not sometimes when you watch the debate. It's my opinion. So, whatever. As far as politics here in the Villages, again, I've only been here about 10 months, but from what I've seen, people commenting, what about the MAGA thing? What about the MAGA thing? Nobody's been running around here screaming MAGA since I've been here. I haven't seen any of it. It's clearly conservative. My opinion or my thought on why it might be conservative, and this is just something I've been thinking about the last few days when I was gearing up to do this video. What makes the Villages different? Why is it so unique? Last election, I read on the internet that the Villages was voted something like 70% conservative or Republican, 30% Democrat. And that, I feel that's probably about right from the vibe I get around here. But my thought on that is, what's unique about the Villages is we don't have a downtown. We don't have an urban area. We don't have a metropolitan area here. We're like a massive suburb without a city. There's 150,000 people here, yet we don't have a downtown. We don't have a city attached to us. It's very strange. And it makes me wonder, it kind of makes sense when you compare that to the map of the country and how voters tend to vote. Typically, the cities, the metropolitan areas, tend to vote Democrat, and the suburbs and the rural areas tend to vote Republican. So if that is generally the case, I don't know, not every city, but generally if that's the case, then it makes sense why this place, which is basically a huge suburb, leans conservative, right? So it doesn't shock me, when you look at it that way. And I think that's kind of what makes us stand out a little bit and kind of puts a target on us for that. But if you map it out, if you look at the rest of the country, that's how it kind of is in the places outside of the metropolitan areas. So I could be wrong. This is just something I was thinking about. This is a unique area for that. I was always found this fascinating here since I've been here, that it's like a huge suburb. It's really strange, but it's cool. It's just it's different. When I was in the security forces in the Navy many years ago, we would sometimes do crowd control and respond to protesters or something outside the base, and for whatever reason. And I would watch the media, because the media was really sneaky in the way they did things. They would come in and there might be a handful of protesters, let's say 50 people, maybe even 100. But there would be a handful of that group that would be fanatics, that would be over the top, that would be the ones yelling and screaming. And they would focus those cameras and those anchor men and women on those people. And it always blew me away. Like, you guys are giving, you people are giving a false representation of what's really going on here. If you pan out, you would see that the rest of the city is just going by in their normal day-to-day business, and there just happened to be this group, but they make it sound like the whole place was up in arms, And I think we have that problem here. I think there's been a few occasions where some people have gone too far with their emotions and they lost control of themselves and they would attack the other side. And I do think some people show up at rallies or events, political events, where they're trying to support their candidate, and you get a handful of bad apples that would lose their cool and start screaming at the opposite side. And I don't think anybody's ever been won over. My opinion has never been changed by someone screaming at me about their political views. I certainly, if anything, it makes you, against that opposite party even more. So I don't know why people do that. It's crazy to me. I think good conversation is healthy. And I think it's also awesome to come out and support your candidate. I think that's an American thing, let's get together and have some patriotic moments and all that. I think that's great. But when it comes down to disrespecting another American citizen's opinion on who they want to vote for to the point of being aggressive, I think that's awful and unnecessary. And I don't think you're going to win people over to your opinion by behaving that way. So I think it's mainly, I just think it's a mean-spirited person that typically does that kind of thing. Or maybe they started and had good intent, had too much coffee, and their emotion ran away from them. That can happen too when you're in a hyped-up environment like that. But I think for the most part, like I was explaining my military thing with the protesters and the media, I think if you were to back out and zoom out and look at the broad spectrum of the villages, you would see that is a speck. That is a very small speck. It does not represent the villages. Most people just want to vote. They want you to enjoy your vote and use your vote however you want and don't care and move on and want to go back to the golf course or whatever. I know there's people that are going to debate me on this. That's fine. I'm all for your opinion on things. That's cool. I'm just telling you from what I feel and my experience here. I think it's really hyped up over a minute amount of people, where most citizens here just want to enjoy their freedoms and want you to enjoy your freedoms. And I certainly do. I want you to vote for whoever you want. I don't care if you vote for my candidate or not. I honestly do not care. I have the power of my own vote to use the way I want to use. I do my homework on the candidates that I vote for, and I don't always vote for the same party. I don't do that kind of thing. I try to honestly dive in and focus on who do I think is the best person, has the best character, and a good record, and obviously votes for things that I think will protect my loved ones and concerns. But I want you to vote for whoever you believe in. And I think we should all understand that, because your experiences and things that affect you are probably different than what affect me and my experiences, right? So I don't expect people to think like I do, or the next guy or gal. I think we've all had our own personal experiences that have molded the way that we feel necessary to vote. So I respect that. I spent my life dedicated to defending the Constitution so that you could have your freedoms, and one of those most important ones is the power of the vote. That's awesome. And what's really great about this country too, if we all screw up as a nation and put the wrong person in office, all you gotta do is ride it out, typically, because there's a term limit. So don't let a handful of people make you think that's how the rest of the party is. And I'm referring to all parties. I think we should all have mutual respect for one another. I think we should have mutual respect for each other's choice to who to vote for. That's as simple as that. We all have different experiences, beliefs, and things that we look for and that we want out of our candidates, so I don't expect us all to vote for the same person. It's just not going to happen. I'm certainly not going to yell and scream at you because you don't vote for my candidate. I don't know what your experiences are. I don't know, how you were brought up and all the things that affect you and your decisions, so you should have the right to do that without fear of being attacked by me or anybody. And I should have the same, right? So, it's kind of a really weird conversation. I'm just an average guy. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. These are just my opinions. I always think cooler heads prevail. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate the different viewpoints. And it's very interesting to hear from y'all and to try to figure out, where this thing is all going. So take care of each other out there. See you on the next video. Bye.